Okay, well, this wasn't how I planned to start my Degrassi retrospective, much less my review series, but if I don't get this out, I'm just going to explode. Honestly, I'm a little troubled by some of the responses I've seen to the recent season of Degrassi Next Class. Degrassi is a series that is near and dear to my heart, and as such, I think it deserves a proper analysis and defense. Now, this won't be a full review. I'm just going to address some points that are very important to the season and toss in my 2 cents on topics that I don't think are being given fair consideration. I want to focus on the racism theme of the season. This isn't the first time it's come up in Degrassi, but this time they do something different. They look at many different sides of the issue. It's an effect of the change in formula since they moved to Netflix. Instead of facing an issue over a 2-episode arc, the writers spread it over the course of an entire season, allowing them to display different types of people dealing with different aspects of the topic at hand. If we wanted to see something different, we'd have to wait a few seasons until another character has to deal with it. This alteration is one of the biggest reasons that I've abandoned any reluctance in continuing with the show after the season 14 fiasco, and how they handled racism only helps the show's case. A rival school's volleyball team pranks the Degrassi team by stealing their clothes and pulling the fire alarm, making them go outside in their birthday suits. We don't actually know if they pulled the fire alarm, but given that they stole the girls' clothes, it's pretty safe to assume. Punishment isn't mentioned either, though I will give that should have been. False alarms are big deals to schools, and so is making students choose between going outside naked and burning to death. At the very least, they could have banned them from playing in the season. But that wouldn't be convenient to the plot, so whatever, I guess? Naturally, the team wants to bring them back. The rival school is nicknamed the Zoo for being a spawning location for crime and other troubles, and it's located in a low-income area, though Degrassi doesn't have the best track record either. With a nickname of the Zoo, co-captain Frankie comes up with the idea to make a banner depicting the opposing team as zoo animals, which the whole team except Shay gets in on, and she draws the rival captain as a gorilla. Obviously, the other team is not pleased with this representation, but they read more into it than was intended.
We're not racist. That school is called the Zoo. We painted their players as animals, but the banner had nothing to do with race.
Whoever drew that, they didn't mean any harm.
But it still hurt. Because we live in a world where lots of people do mean it like that.
The whole thing was kind of my idea. And I drew the monkey.
Frankie's actions in making the banner doesn't necessarily make her racist, and that's kind of the point. You don't need to be a bad person to be accidentally racist. Frankie's problem isn't that she's an out-and-out KKK racist burning crosses and such. It's that she doesn't realize that there are other ways people can interpret her actions. She doesn't see what she did as even being remotely racist, partially because it's not a part of her world.
What, so because I'm white, things come easy for me?
No, it's just you've never had to deal with microaggression, like people always asking if you have an arranged marriage.
Frankie doesn't have to overcome people's preconceived notions of her just because of her race. It's like the notion that something doesn't exist because you haven't experienced it yourself. Some people don't or can't consider situations if it doesn't come up for them personally. And it's worth mentioning that Shay had to ask her parents if it's racist because she didn't initially see it that way either, and her take was more solidified after learning about the history of depicting black people as monkeys or gorillas. Frankie probably didn't need to quit the team, but she didn't make her predicament much better.
Look, the next time we have a game, you can bring a big dumb drawing of me, and then we'll be even. Can we please just let it go?
Let it go? That drawing was racist.
But I didn't mean it like that.
While she does have a point in that how she meant it does matter, she also refused to see that people could be reasonably offended by what she does and chose to be defensive rather than actually listen.
I really didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings, and I'm really sorry you felt offended.
I'm sorry you felt offended is like shooting someone in the leg and saying, I'm sorry you're getting blood all over your pants.
I'm not the problem. They're the ones who are being unreasonable. It's those people.
Those people?
Every time she tries to make peace with the other team, she ends up shooting herself in the foot by explaining her actions and defending what she did. Responsibility for a misunderstanding cuts both ways. Blaming a speaker as though they meant something other than what they did isn't fair, but neither is telling someone that they're wrong for being hurt when everything you say to try to help is insensitive to the point of making things worse. Sure, it wasn't fair that everyone doubled down on blaming Frankie for the banner when everyone except Shay participated in making it, but it's not unrealistic. When something bad happens, people always look for a scapegoat or a singular villain. It's like with the election cycle. People treat it as though changing the leader will change everything everywhere, even though actually doing that would require rebuilding the way the whole system is put together. But that's a lot of work to commit to. It's way easier to move the goalposts down even if it doesn't solve anything. People aren't always reasonable, so why should we expect every character to be if they are supposed to be truly emulating real life? Don't get me wrong, flawed characters do not excuse flawed writing, but not everyone makes the best choices or thinks their plans through. Many negative criticisms object to the unreasonableness of the characters as being unrealistic, but I think surprisingly Baz of all people said it best.
Have you met people?
You can't have your characters be both realistically flawed and also make the best decision in every single situation, or it comes off like a stilted, artificial educational melodrama from middle school health class. People aren't just and fair all the time, and to call out a show that is portraying a microcosm of real life where it is unreasonable.
Not fair!
You say that so often. I wonder what your basis for comparison is.
I'm glad the writers did this, and I honestly don't think it was forced. You don't need to be a horrible person to do bad things, even by accident, and good people won't always make good decisions. Even if Frankie isn't an out-and-out racist, she did something that can be taken as racist, which does happen. Really, some of the genius of this season comes in the form of how other characters deal with the subject. Shay knows people see the banner as racist, but she also knows that Frankie isn't a bad person. Even if she loves her best friend, she doesn't have to be okay with everything Frankie does and is allowed to disagree. It also allows for that nice educational moment from Shay's dad, showing that her parents aren't total bad guys as we thought last season when they wouldn't let her date. Even the Northern Tech captain isn't a mustache-twirling villain. She is genuinely offended by the banner and her depiction, but she does forgive Frankie when she finally apologizes properly, even though she didn't want to.
Thanks. Did I have a choice?
She's sorry, what else do you want?
The world to be a better place? I'm just sick of always having to be the bigger person.
That's true reasonableness. That's what a truly rational person would do. Kara doesn't want to accept any semblance of an apology from Frankie, but she knows immaturity is not the right response. It takes a lot of sacrifice to do the right thing, which has been one of Shay's themes throughout her storylines. This totally makes me love Shay, because even though we've had characters feeling conflicted with doing the right thing as defined by others, Shay is concerned with following the path her parents want her to take, the path she wants to travel, and what would make her happy. Just as much of the pressure she's under comes from inside as from external sources. But I digress. Another aspect I loved about the writing was showing how unconscious racism can be. When Frankie gets a flat on the side of the road, she immediately locks the car door when approached by a black Good Samaritan. True, he was a stranger, but she was forced to question why she assumed the worst. Was it stranger danger, or was it because of his skin color? Nothing is stated a lot about the scene because it was all done by the lingering camera shot and her performance as she thought about why she just did what she did. There are things people do without considering why. Surprisingly, when asked why people like what they like, most people aren't able to give a really accurate answer, which is why people default to the obvious details. Why do you feel more comfortable with certain strangers but not others? And even if we personally work past racial inequality, it can still exist in our institutions. Even if Tiny wasn't suspended because he's black, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, and the administrators responsible in real life might not be fully aware if that's why they're doing it. It also doesn't make up for the fact that zero-tolerance policies don't work, like with the 3-strike system. A lot of places aren't perfect, including Degrassi, and I for one am glad they questioned the school policy without the school being outright evil, as in many past situations. It's a matter worth investigating, and nothing should be spared a critical eye, even schools. Facilitating discussion is also extremely important, as Tristan learned and as we learn almost every episode. Most of the problems on this show is because people don't talk to each other and assume certain subjects are off the table. We can't gag rule something just because it's depressing or a downer. Bad things happen, and they don't stop happening if you stop a guy from making a joke about it. This includes racism. People will complain about the fact that I am a white person lecturing about racism as if I'm not even allowed to talk about it. Some people will call me racist for the entirety of my YouTube career just because I even brought it up. But seriously consider that. If the key to understanding is communication, does it make sense to exclude certain people? Saying that some people aren't allowed to discuss certain things is treating people differently because of race. I love Degrassi because it wants us to join the conversation. Racism isn't solved now that the season is over, but the characters learn something. Isn't that good storytelling? I love Degrassi, and I want to share my love for it through a series retrospective. Thanks for watching, and next time I'll be starting officially from the beginning.